anything scary in the woods.
Well, I never want to.
I don't want to see a bear. I don't want to see anything like that stuff.
Put it this way: a friend of mine who was a medical doctor, we both up in the Canadian Rockies. We went up to an old Japanese internment camp from World War II, what was left of it, and we ran into a Bigfoot. And I have not.
Really?
I have never gone into the woods since. That was it. That was my experience of being. I grew up in the woods, going camping every summer, a couple, weeks at the beginning of the summer and a couple weeks at the end of the summer with my family. And then I have had, me and my wife have 8 children, and we used to go camping all the time, and my wife couldn't understand why. It scared me so bad. I mean, even Vietnam didn't scare me half as bad as what I saw up there. And I'll tell you, listen to last night's show. The first half an hour, we do the wacky news, and then it starts getting into heavy stuff. And then that's.
I'm going to listen to that because I camp all the time, and I spend a great deal of time camping alone in very remote places.
You're brave.
And I, too, was in Vietnam, and so I understand fear, and I also understand, being aware of your surroundings, and I take tremendous precautions. I'm getting ready to go to hike into the Sturgeon River Gorge, which is a 4-mile hike just to get to the trail that takes you to the gorge. And it's very remote, very all wilderness, so I take great preparations, but I'm not sure I would want to run into anything out there because you're completely by yourself and you still got to get out of it.
Yeah. That's the scary part. Hopefully you take bear spray with you when you go out.
I do not take bear spray. I take a 357 Magnum or higher.
That's a good move. In my case,
I don't want to shoot a bear, but I think if I shoot into the air, it might scare the bear off. But I don't want to get into any. I mean, I try to be. I have crossed. I did take a trail where I was out on at Point of Bay and came back 20 minutes later, and there's a bear track that had crossed my track in that 15 minutes. But I don't want to be close enough to a bear to have to spray him with like perfume or something,
Yeah, that's scary because, also like when we saw our encounter, we had to drive about 15 miles or so, up on a 2-lane highway going up the Canadian Rockies. We came up to a little store, and we started talking to the guy that owned the store. And, he could tell we were shook up, and we told him what we ran into. And then he said, there is sightings of Bigfoot in this area. But a week ago, a guy and his wife went up there hiking, and his wife got hurt. So he ran to get help. And by the time he got help and came back there, his wife was almost all eaten up by a bear.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I talk because I do public speaking appearances all over the state, and people ask me about these things all the time. And I tell people, look, even if you're going to go leave your car for 15 minutes and walk down a little trail, take equipment with you. Take a radio, take emergency things, because if you crack an ankle out there, no one can find you. And it is the woods. I mean, it's very serious stuff. It's not like what you see on TV where people are out there in flip-flops and running around and their cell phone works.
Yeah.
Where we live, you don't have the cell, and so GPS isn't going to help you. You need to know how to start a fire, and you need to know how to follow a compass. And yes, I'm sure that there are. We have a lot of UFO sightings up here because of the dark skies. So I can sympathize with your reaction to that encounter. When you do encounter something in the forest, in the woods, whether it's a bear or a wolf or a Bigfoot, it shakes you up because it's completely out of your normal everyday experience.
Well, we didn't expect it. And plus, coming from the United States into Canada, you can't bring a weapon. We weren't even smart enough to think about bear spray. We didn't even think about bears. All we were doing is taking pictures of old ghost towns, old cemeteries, and the silver mines, a lot of silver mines.
Next time you'll take spray, you'll take bells. Yeah, because when you're in Canada, you can't take weapons there, which is odd since you can go hunting there.
Yeah,
but you can't take weapons with you. But even the simplest, I mean, we read about it all the time. You were saying the lady had been almost eaten by bears. People get attacked by wolves, by mountain lions. It's a very good idea. We want everybody to be peaceable and lovable, but in the forest, you really should take precautions to protect yourself and your family.
And you're so right. If you fall and break your ankle, what are you going to do? I fell going on 4 months ago. We have a mini farm. One of the goats jumped me and knocked me down. I was fine that day. The next day, I kind of like my balance was off for some reason. I took like 4 falls. And I put it this way, I was in bed for almost 2.5 months. I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand. I had the ligament, my knee, the AL, whatever it is, I tore that completely. I had a sprained ankle on both legs, a sprained leg, sprained neck, sprained back. It was horrible.
This is from a goat attack?
Well, the goat attack caused it. The next day is I couldn't stand up. I'd walk and I'd just fall right over. And then
as we get older, it's amazing how much punishment you absorb when you're young and don't realize it. And then when you get older, you're incapacitated from a simple slip. And you slip and fall, and you sprained an arm, your knee is gone. And how do you move?
You don't.
Do you have enough water with you?
What's really interesting is my son took my motorcycle, and he crashed bad. And he had a punctured lung. He had like 3 broken ribs and a whole bunch of road rash and other issues. Now, he was in pain for about 3 weeks. But like after 3 weeks, he was back riding his motorcycle instead of mine because mine was totaled. And like in the 5 weeks, he was back at work again, where I sat there and, I'm still recovering. I'm learning how to walk now because I haven't used a walker. And that's what happens when you get like 67 years old. He's 26 years old. You rebound when you're young. So if somebody's out in the woods somewhere and you fall and you break your ankle, you break your leg, and you're on a path that nobody goes on a regular basis, you could die very easily.
You could very easily could. In fact, I'm getting ready to go to investigate the Sturgeon River Gorge. Now, I'll let people know the day I'm going because I'm 69 and a half. And so when I go, I let people know, look, this is where I'm going. This is when I expect to come back out. If you haven't heard from me in 48 hours, send the cavalry.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a 4-mile hike back in there, and so you have to let people know where you're going because I carry in my pack enough that I could survive for 3 days, water and energy things and all that. But if you should become injured and you're not near water, after 3 days you got problems. You can go without food, but you can't go without water. And if you're bleeding, you really need to let people know where you are. And the Bigfoot hunters, I'll tell you that. When they go back in there, they have to go, they're not hunting back near town. They're way out in the wilderness looking for Bigfoot.
And what scares me? I've had actually Bigfoot hunters on my show, and I asked them, what type of protection you carry? And the one guy said, I carry a pocket knife. And I said, oh my God, we got mountain lions and cougars. We got bears. We got all these other things that would love to eat you, and how would you protect yourself? And if you did run across
I'm far more worried about getting injured than I am about wildlife attacking me, because wildlife will usually try to stay away from you. But a pocket knife? Really?
Yeah, that's what he said. I go, ooh. I didn't want to say what I thought, but, I couldn't because we were on radio. But, I didn't, no way. I mean, the guy he's asking for a problem to be, a statistic.
Just asking, you're asking for trouble. If you do that, you're asking for trouble. There's no reason, there's no shame in being overcautious. If you go into something and you get into trouble, you want to be able to get back out. And there's no reason to be macho with the wild wilderness. It's no place for playing games. You want to be careful. And if we're to go looking for things like the McIntosh Stone or looking at old ghost towns, you're going to be out in the wilderness. You got to take care.
Yeah, and you never know. I fell through a roof one time. It was where I worked at for a while, was a converted hotel back in the 60s. They took off like about 5 stories of the building because it was unsafe. And I went up there because I wanted to take pictures upstairs because the rooms were gone, But, the windows were still there, the old windows that were bricked up.
Yeah.
And you could see the linoleum where the walls were and all that stuff. And I was walking around up there, and I fell through the ceiling. And the only thing that saved me was my arms hanging. It took a while because people, down in the retail, because it was a retail business, finally somebody looked up at the ceiling, which was about 40 feet above, the floor, and they noticed I was hanging
There's
there.
a guy hanging up there.
Yeah, and then the paramedics were even scared to, come and pull me out because they were scared about falling through.
Other than that and the Bigfoot encounter, what's the what's the closest call you had, pursuing this kind of stuff? I mean, have you gotten caught on a trail or caught in a cave or anything like that?
I almost fell down an 800-foot mine shaft one time. I mean, that would have been really. I mean, I almost went, and the only thing that saved me is they had a little bit of fencing on the side of it, but it was like an open area, and I guess enough people, actually, a couple of people fell into it, and then this is the old town of Allen up by Black Diamond, Washington. That was an old coal mining town. And
okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you where it was.
And they laid some railroad tracks over it and then, put fencing over it because I guess a couple people actually did fall into it. They got too close and slipped and went in.
Well, we have it happen here regularly. There's a place here called the Lost Dead Stream Swamp. And that is where Dogman has been spotted for years. I don't know if you're aware of the Dogman.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that last night.
Well, that swamp creature, the Lost Dead Stream Swamp is where Dogman has been spotted for years and years. And every year, at least a half a dozen people go into that Lost Dead Stream Swamp and never come out. Every single year. And it's sometimes it's hunters, sometimes it's hikers, sometimes it's Dogman searchers. But this swamp is so dangerous because you'll be walking along and you'll think you're on land, and all of a sudden you'll find you're actually on a bog above quicksand, and people are just gone. I mean, it happens all the time. Looking for Dogman, so that's another place that's worth people being careful.
That is really scary, too. I mean, if you go into quicksand, you don't have much chance of getting out of it.
No, very little. And there's that one, and then there's the Delirium Wilderness, which is up here in the Upper Peninsula, where I'm going to be going to investigate that later this year. And this is a place where you get in, and it's so vast that all the trails look the same, and people go missing in there, and they figure that it's just because their GPS won't work and they have their phone, but they're in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan where that doesn't work all the time, and people just go missing there too. But nothing like the Lost Dead Stream Swamp, where they ask people, just don't go in unless you're really, really equipped, because if you don't have waders and you don't have a kayak and you don't have a way to handle water and muck and quicksand, we never find you. And it happens over and over and over every year.
Oh, wow. Again,
nobody's brought back a Dogman yet, though. We're still waiting for somebody to bring back a Dogman. That hasn't happened yet.
Or, well, maybe the Dogman has found one of those people who've gone missing. Hey, we're going to have...
Yeah, it could be.
Do you want to hang on for another half an hour? I do have to go on break, but, you're welcome.
If you want to talk some more, I'll be glad to hang on.
Okay, well, you're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. Check out our web at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. You can scroll down, to the web. You can see who our guests are going to be for the rest of the week and then part of next week. You can also scroll down to the gallery and see some of the new images I put up and some new articles about Earth changes. And also down at the bottom of the web page is a player. Now, you can listen to like 300 past shows for free. Never have to pay anything to listen to any of the shows or prior shows in Night Dream Talk Radio. Also, if you're in one of the areas where there isn't a station, you can certainly click on the player, because when we go live at 6 p.m. West Coast time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, it goes live and you can listen to there. You can listen to iTunes, TuneIn, iHeart, and all that for Night Dreams Talk Radio. We'll be back in 4.5 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio. This is Gary.